this is Cameron, and welcome to the practice log. And it appears that we have a friend. I saw a ladybug here. Hold on. Who's crawling around? Oh, there you are. See that? It's a little dusty. Guys, insects trust me. This is a little fun fact about me, but I've never met a fly that doesn't trust me. Flies always land on me. I really like it. This guy is gonna die in this sterile apartment. So let's go feed it, and then we're gonna play guitar. I'll see you there. I need a paper towel. I'm gonna feed it some of my lead-infused water. I know these guys usually eat aphids, but I'm pretty sure a strawberry should be okay. I'll chew it up a little bit for him. There you go. Alright. He's got a wet paper towel and a little bit of chewed up strawberry that I spit in there. Should be able to survive on that for a while. I read that you can feed them raisins. I don't have a raisin, all I have is a strawberry. Well, I'm gonna let him chill here while I practice. If he hasn't flown off, I guess I'll just throw him outside. Oh, he's drinking water. He's probably thirsty. This apartment is extremely sterile. There's nothing alive in this apartment. I feel like I barely count. Yeah, he's drinking that water. Yep. He's dusty. He has dust all over him. This poor guy. Alright. That strawberry was really good. He's welcome to roam the apartment. If he's wise, he'll stay in that glass until I'm ready to release him, which will be in a few hours probably, because he will surely die if he's just out and about in this apartment. If you know what's good for you, buddy. He's still in there. He's chilling. He's just drinking water. That's like surface tension on the side of the glass. He's not trapped in there. I didn't like close him in or anything. Don't get PETA on me. It's a ladybug. I could have killed that ladybug if I wanted to. It's my house. It's not illegal. Now, I have a theme for today, and I actually have a theme for upcoming night sessions. I want to start going into a new topic today, because it's one that I think will be kind of fun and interesting, and it's kind of horror themed, and it involves a video. I have an idea for the starting place of this theme. So if you have any scary questions, feel free to ask them, and you'll get a feel for what I'm talking about as we go through it. I have a vision here, though. Okay, well, like I said, I think we're going to go do a video today. I have some questions that I want to answer and some stuff that I want to address. I have some surprising news that I didn't think I would be doing so soon, but here it is. I'll talk about it tomorrow in the chair session. Tonight, we're gonna practice. So I'll see you there. That's the kind of boring the show is. There's a bug. That's my co-star now. Yeah, so if you remember, my nails still suck. They haven't grown out yet. That is to be expected, but it's okay. So I'm gonna start with the Morel Sonatina, and that is what we're doing. So, you know, deal with it. All right, I'll see you on the other side. Alright, I'm gonna try something different here. Let me bring it closer. I'm not done practicing, but I am just gonna go ahead and play it now and then keep practicing. And hopefully it'll be better than when I'm at the very end of the session. So here we go.
my
him.
left hand or something.
So I'm gonna speed it up a bit, just so it goes a little bit faster.
Have a tendency to go down.
He's noticing his fingers. Which, if you don't know, because I've talked about it in the masterclass, and a lot of you actually have never heard of focal dystonia, which is probably for the best when you do, like, a lot of practice, and if a lot of the practice is kind of unfocused, like, technique work, where you're just, like, running a thing over and over. And I guess eventually your neurons just kind of get stuck, and your fingers will just do that when you try to, like, go and play again. Like, if you're not playing, and you're just holding your hand doing something else that you didn't do, like, repetitively, like that motion, your hand's fine. But then when you go to do that motion that you kept practicing for hours, for years, every day, your finger just starts doing that automatically, and it makes it, like, impossible to play well. So this guy got it. You might get it. Do you practice a lot? I don't know.
I probably wouldn't even think about it. Maybe you could say it wouldn't have happened, but we don't know. Lawyers can have problems too with it. But it meant that suddenly a Brahms B-flat concerto, the octave thing in the second movement about
pianist talk. We have no idea what they're talking about.
Now, it's very difficult for anybody, and you don't have a 100% batting average on that, but you have an 85 maybe, that it will come out. I mean, not that it'll be a disaster, but that it might be only 85 or 90, not 100. But you can do it at 100 too. If you record it, it'll be 100 because you do it a couple of times. And I noticed that I was having problems. It was really not going very well, and it was...
God, is that what just happened to me when I was playing the Morel Sonatina? Maybe I do have it. I don't know. Sorry.
You're trying to play this, and your finger has gone down to there, so you're playing a wrong note, in effect. I spoke to Serkin about this, And I remember I was about 50.
50, you know, you had a good run. If you're 50 and that happens, it's really sad when you see people like my age and younger get the FD. That suck. I know of one guy from my school who got focal dystonia. I only know of him. I didn't even know him personally. But that's like heartbreaking.
Is that the only place in the concerto you're having problems with? And I said, well, I mean, it's a difficult concerto. Not that, I mean, something might go wrong anywhere, but yeah, that's the only one that suddenly is different. Well, if that's the only place you have a problem with, you can go to hell. Oh. That's what he said. You know, so they take me seriously because, you know, I played the piece really, but it just started to get worse and worse. Eventually, like 2 months later, it was in a different place because it started to go a little further. In a short time, I couldn't play anything really because every except some Bach, like, you know, this kind of thing.
Did you have
could only play Bach. That ain't the worst fate.
idea what was going on? Did you consult any type of doctors to try to figure
Oh,
out?
well, yeah. Well, at that point, I canceled concerts then. I immediately, I couldn't play. So I remember I was supposed to play with Chicago Orchestra and, I mean, many. This was, you know, huge. I canceled 2 years of concerts, 200 concerts, because the concerts are booked ahead of time. I went to countless doctors, and now my friend, Leon Fleischer. Now, I didn't know if it was similar or different, but he had a problem. And his was, I think, at the age of 36, which was quite different than 50. I mean, he was, so naturally I was talking to him a great deal. He had given up going to doctors at that point. Because, you know, said, well, maybe it's, psychological or this or that, and, you know, because nobody knew. So I went to all these doctors. Everyone diagnosed it in whatever their specialty was. So I had every possible disease. I had Parkinson's disease.
Oh.
Yeah. And I said, well, my left hand is perfect from that. Well, it's got to start somewhere. He said, you know, very...
That's terrifying. Oh my god. He's laughing about it. This happens to me like maybe once every 2 years where I get pretty convinced that I have cancer. It can just be from like any little thing, and that feeling that you get of like, oh my god, I wish it were yesterday right now before I thought I had cancer. It almost feels like you just can't go back from it. It's like I'm already dead. Like, that was it. I should have talked to that girl in high school. I have all these regrets and all these missed chances, and I can never go back. This is the end of my life. Oh, man. I can only imagine. I'm sure he had that. Being told you have Parkinson's at the doctor. Just like, oh, God. No.
Encouragingly. And gave me Cinnamon, was that it? Yeah. And he said, so come back, it'll slow the process, it might even help you. So come to see me in 4 weeks, but take it for 4 weeks and, you know, call if there's an emergency. Well, after 2 weeks I called to say that there's no emergency, but it's as if I'm taking nothing. I mean, there's no effect on anything, but it's not an emergency. Well, no, you have your appointment in 2 weeks. So 2 weeks later, I saw him and I said exactly the same as before. And no, I had no ill effects from the drug. So he said, well, I guess you don't have Parkinson's. And since he was a doctor for that, and a very famous one, he lost interest. So there was a lot of that kind of thing. And through friends, I ended up at Mass General Hospital, because there were 3 doctors who became interested in it, 3 totally different fields. And I ended up, for 1 year, getting an apartment.
Woo! Yeah, dude. That's the life right there. So let's see. You can't play piano anymore, and you got an apartment. You're basically me at that point. Hey, that ain't a bad life, man. Order your groceries on Sam's Club, eat a bunch of fruit, take care of some ladybugs, maybe try playing some guitar. Maybe your hands will take to that.
A studio apartment in back of the hospital.
A studio, too. Oh, yeah.
Housing complex where some of the young doctors live. And Steinway put a piano in that apartment, and the doctors put...
Dude, your neighbors. Oh, my God. A Steinway piano in your apartment? That's insane.
A huge biofeedback machine on the piano, and they came to visit me every day. When I would be there 2 days a week, and I'd fly back. So these 3 doctors...
He's like, what are you talking... I'm sorry, did you put, like, medical equipment on the piano, and, like why? What were you practicing?
would come to the apartment, and I got to know them very well. I had dinner with it. I became an experimental case. The word focal dystonia, these words, focal dystonia, I don't think were mentioned yet.
Dystonia.
Around that time, the New York Times wrote, on their Sunday, a huge thing on my canceling 200 concerts.
Was it 200 concerts?
Yeah, and that I was trying to get help at Mass General. So Sunday Times, which appears on Saturday night in some places, on Monday morning, they got countless phones. I think there were 45 phone calls from different parts of the country. In fact, somebody from abroad, including a sitar player, of all musicians, because when an orchestra musician, whose livelihood, of course, depends on being in the orchestra, gets this kind of problem, he hides it and plays as much as possible until he can't play, and doesn't seek help because his contract won't be renewed. So by accident, I was the one who caused it. When you simply can't play, you can say you have the flu and cancel 2 weeks of concerts. But I love
how fast they jumped to the interviewer. They're like, you got that? All right, back.
I was 50, which at my age now seems comparatively young, but still, when I was 50, I thought, well, you know, I played 30 years of 100 concerts a year and made many records, and, you know, it's... and I'm interested in so many other things besides music, and I can teach. I wasn't suicidal about it, although I wasn't happy.
Were there moments of despair in having to switch away from performing?
Yes and no, because since the initial diagnoses, before I went there, were, in some cases, life-threatening, I think, and it turns out, no, it's only your hand. It's nothing to do with the rest of your body. In other words, you live as long as you would have lived otherwise. It's only...
Yeah, imagine being diagnosed with Parkinson's or like any other worse neurological disorder, because there's some bad ones that you don't get better from. God, and then like the diagnosis being lifted. That's gotta feel so good.
Only this. Well, that was in a way a relief.
You guys are just learning that I'm like a severe hypochondriac now, which I am. When I was a kid, I feel like I shouldn't talk too much because this has been a long one. When I was a kid, I used to be so afraid of dying, or just like thinking, I always thought I was dying. I remember always living like Christmas to Christmas, where I was always in my head, it's like, it's 4 months, just make it to Christmas. Like, and I was pretty convinced that I wouldn't. Every year I was like, I don't know how many more days I have left. And I made it. I made it to Christmas. Every time.
What you've learned about vocal dystonia now, over the years, is there...
That I have it.
Is there hope for young musicians who have
No.
this problem?
If this were, in my case,
I know you're not a doctor. I don't know why I'm asking you this. You just have it. Is there hope? David Leisner thinks there's hope. We'll probably talk about David Leisner too. Yeah, there's no fixing it though.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I just...
Thank you.
Something very simple. When I couldn't do this,
You can just switch to left-handed piano.
I could play octaves doing this. 1-3. And in fact, when I recorded the Tchaikovsky Second Concerto with Ormondine at the rehearsals, and he half-jokingly and said, "Hey, Gary, you're drowning out my orchestra."
Oh.
Because 3 is a stronger finger than 5 or 4. Usually play octaves with 5 and 4. 3 is a much stronger finger.
God, you just have to like, what happens when 3 goes? You're just counting them down. It's like, can't use that one, can't use that one. Ooh, 1, 2. Hit him with one of those. What's up, guys? I don't know.
And I have no problem. And I realized later, a year later, that I wasn't doing it this way, I was doing it this way. And I was probably stretching something here. You know, you have this tremendous pressure on the piano, and these fingers are down, so something that's not natural is happening there. So maybe somebody had knew things about it then and told me at that point, maybe it wouldn't have happened or happened much later, or I don't know.
Mr. Graffman, thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, look at that. All right, you guys scared now? I hope so. That's my goal, is to scare you guys, because it scares me too, so I want you to be scared with me. Though, I mean, it's not that scary. What would I really lose? Like, I can still teach. I would just kind of suck. I would like to keep getting better on the guitar, so it would suck to have to give that up. But I don't know, what would I do if I had to give up getting better on the guitar? Oh, you know what I would do? I would just become a pop-punk singer. That's what I would do. That would be like the next thing I'd want to focus on. I'd want to learn how to scream and do like screamo vocals and like really whiny pop punk vocals. And I would just start a band. And then as long as I have one finger, I would just do drop D tuning and do power chords that way. As long as one of these fingers works, I'm pretty sure I can work that out. Yeah, it wouldn't be the worst thing. It might actually be good for me to get vocal dystonia if that's the alternative, because that sounds way cooler than what I'm doing now. All right, Let's wrap this thing up. So, that's the Gary Graffman one. We are going to go into other vocal dystonia victims, because that is what this has come to. I might not go into it, like, tomorrow, but, you know, we're gonna throw it in there. This will be a thing. Is this insensitive? I have no idea. Whatever. It's fine. It's interesting. Okay, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. I'll see you in the outro. Hey, if you made it this far, be sure to subscribe and leave a like if you can. Hey, want some guitar lessons? I do that. Guitar lessons, email me, I'll give them to you. Though the slots are basically filled up, but you know, if you ask, I'll hook you up, don't worry. What else we got? Oh, we got any comment questions? Ask them, I'll answer them for you. And that's the dynamic that we have sometimes. Ask a question, it gets answered, and that's what you get. That's for free, you just ask it. Everything I do is free, except for lessons. I don't know what I'm on about right now. Practice mindfully. Don't do any like stupid, like unfocused practice where you're just doing one movement over and over again. And you know, keep your hands relaxed, keep mid-range, and be careful out there, guys. Alright, I'm gonna go to bed, so I'll see you tomorrow.